We're jumping in with a review of the Inner Sphere Battle Lance by Catalyst. This is one of their Lance packs, not from the perspective of an unboxing, but from the perspective of the synergy of the mechs, the synergy of the models, putting down this Lance on the tabletop, on the hex map to play. What synergy do the mechs have? How do they complement each other? What weaknesses are there? And as a Lance, if you were piloting these mechs, if you were a mech commander, what should we look at? What should we approach? Let's build that Tactica checklist. And jumping in right away, I have to say, as a long-time Battletech enthusiast, it's amazing to finally have a Phoenix Hawk in plastic, let alone a rifleman, let alone a Warhammer, but to have a Hawk that looks fantastic in sculpted plastic, the updated designs, just an awesome-looking Lance pack, awesome-looking mechs. So from that narrative of capturing the Battletech Game of Armored Combat narrative, hands down, Inner Sphere Battle Lance does it. But how are we going to use this on the table? So the first thing that jumps out in my mind is the synergy of the Rifleman and the Warhammer. We're looking at Inner Sphere Tactica, Inner Sphere Tech. We have 2 PPCs and 2 autocannon 5s. That's got some bite. That's got some range. It has the redundancy in that I'm firing, potentially, I have to watch heat, firing 2 a turn. If I can get into a nice place on the hex map with a little bit of cover, maybe Light Woods 1 or Tier 1 elevation, level 1, and just fire away, that's got some bite. If I can hone in on a light or a medium mech or even a heavy mech and focus my fire from that Rifleman and from that Warhammer, that's going to put down some dice damage. So that's going to be the primary thrust of our Lance. What I'm seeing is this Lance, it does have the capability for some close-in work, absolutely, but it tends to want to stay at a distance and wear you down. And then move in for the close work. Or stay at a distance, wear you down, weaken you, hopefully go to some internals, and then forcing you to close, then we go in with the internal and with the close-in work. So we're going to look to leverage that Rifleman and that Warhammer. Now, the Phoenix Hawk and the Wasp, they're going to hang out. I see the Wasp as almost staying a little bit behind, just to stay out of range. Maybe it runs back and forth. It's certainly not going to lead. As with any Battletech Lance, we're going to look not to get more than 3 or 4 hexes away from each other. We're going to work literally as a combat unit. The Phoenix Hawk has a little bit more bite, being a medium mech. It's got some armor. We are going to utilize that large laser, but that's as we move closer. So again, I'm probably not going to lead with the Phoenix Hawk, but it's going to be there. It's going to be there in reserve. As we get closer, either advancing on mission objectives or I'm advancing, or my opponent is going to try to close with their Lance, now we have large lasers. Now, a large laser, we actually have a lot in this build, in this stock build. We have it on the Phoenix Hawk, and we have 2 of them on the Rifleman. So what this means is I don't have the range. A large laser doesn't have the range of a PPC. Doesn't have the damage, doesn't have the heat. But it's got more bite in terms of damage and heat than a medium laser. So it's kind of that middle ground where if we're far away, I can be aggressive with the Warhammer. I'm going to fire both PPCs. I'm going to push that heat. I'm going to be plinking away, putting down the autocannon fire with the Rifleman. As things get closer, the Warhammer is going to be close in work. I need to watch the heat. So I'm probably just going to go with 1 PPC. I'm going to switch to the large lasers. The Phoenix Hawk is going to come in. We're going to switch to the large laser. I have to watch the heat, but I'm still putting out the potential for decent damage output. And again, here in this Lance, in terms of fire brackets and redundancy, at long range, I've got the PPCs and the autocannon 5s. When I start to close that, I've got the autocannons, I've got the large lasers, 2 on the Rifleman, 1 on the Phoenix Hawk. That's nice balance. That's nice volume of dice. Now as we get even closer, so now we're getting closer to engage, this Lance actually has medium to short range, but ideally medium, a lot of firepower. And this is where it really starts to shine, the fact that I've got the autocannons on the Rifleman. I've got the medium lasers and the large laser on the the Phoenix Hawk. I've got the medium lasers on that Warhammer, and I've got the medium laser on the Wasp. That's a lot of firepower, and I can run a little bit hot and really push that damage output out there. So now as we get to medium range to short range, there is a tremendous amount of firepower. I've got stuff to soak you at long range, and now I've got a good combination to hit you at shorter range. So we're getting to shorter range, and what we see here with the Phoenix Hawk, and now this is where the Phoenix Hawk shines, and one could make the argument that the Phoenix Hawk is an amazing, amazing machine, an auto-include in your lists. We've got the large laser, we've got the 2 medium lasers, we've got the machine guns, and we've got jump capability, jump jets. So that gets into the position when we close with the other mechs to be able to jump to stay out of firing arcs, or jump to get rear armor, or jump to get into position, or if someone's trying to outflank you or do something and I need to jump, this Phoenix Hawk is there. Similar with the Wasp, but again, the Wasp has that medium laser. If we get super close, 2 or 3 hexes, almost base to base, can I say hand to hand? Mech to mech combat, this is now where we lose a little bit of the bite. The Warhammer does have a number of shorter range, close in weapons with the lasers, the machine guns, the missiles, but it does have deficiencies in the leg armor. It's not quite as strong there, and firing all of those weapons, there is going to be heat issues. The Rifleman at close, really, really close range, we don't want to be there. It does not have the armor. It does have 2 medium lasers for a little bit of pushback, but it doesn't have short-range missiles. It doesn't have small lasers. It doesn't have the heat to be able to run a reliable brace of medium lasers, and it certainly doesn't have the armor. That doesn't mean it's defenseless. It's got something, and it is working as part of a lance, but we kind of take that out if we're 2 or 3 hexes away. And then the Wasp, of course, being a light mech, we have the SRM 2-pack, we have the medium laser. We do have close-in work for that, but it's a light mech. It doesn't have the armor. Perhaps we don't want to engage. That really ideally leaves the Phoenix Hawk and the Warhammer dedicated to that close-in work. Not fully optimized, but still, it has bite. And if you find your opponent closing to really close short range, 2 or 3 hexes, that doesn't mean I'm going to stay there optimally. I might want to start backpedaling, or I might have to move closer because of mission objectives. But as this puts down, Inner Sphere Battle Lance, it's a solid lance. It's a very, very potent lance. It has a lot of options in there. And if I had to criticize any of the mech choices, the Wasp. I'd probably switch the Wasp out for a Commando from the Game of Armored Combat set, or maybe another type of light mech, maybe the Valkyrie on that, pulling that in from the Command Lance or other lances. But that said, as a mech commander, if you gave me this lance to command, it has some options, and it does have some interesting bite in putting it down on the tabletop.